You failed. It was a small disaster, but whatever. You know. So my name is Professor Bruzelius, and I teach history of architecture in the Department of Art, Art History, and Visual Studies. I have had multiple failures in many kinds and many levels. But I think probably the most profound failures I have had have been failing to pay attention to my intuition about people in particular. These were interpersonal problems, and there was no solution. The only solution was to walk away, to say, I'm sorry, we can't work together anymore. This is not possible for me, and to give up. So I'm the kind of person who has difficulty giving up, who has difficulty saying there's no solution to this problem. And it takes me a long time to get there. And that might be a failure too. Maybe there would have been a solution, but I couldn't see one, and I couldn't see, there's that term, irreconcilable differences, right? Well, I think it's true, there are sometimes situations where there are irreconcilable differences. You just can't get there from here. They were both hard, and they were both different kinds of situations. One was my marriage, which is pretty intense, right? When I didn't pay attention to my intuition and married a person who turned out to be probably the worst possible person for me. Not a bad person, but just not a good person for me. And the second one was when I had a boss who also, we just could not understand each other, or I could not understand her. I didn't pay attention to my gut in this situation. I forged ahead thinking I could solve a problem, and I couldn't. My gut was telling me no, and my head was telling me yes, and I didn't pay attention to my gut. And in both cases, I had to leave. I feel often that when we're upset or unhappy and something bad has gone wrong, simply talking about it, right, putting it out there in the air can make a difference, right? It doesn't seem quite so terrible as when it's in your head and you're all by yourself with this thing. Failure can be pretty depressing and upsetting, right? And getting to the point where you realize you have failed and there is no remedy is a terrible part of life. But as I've gotten older and have accumulated not only successes but also failures, I've become more and more cheerful. And I ask myself, why am I so cheerful? And I think, well, part of it is that you can fail and you realize you just keep on chugging along. Things not working out, it's just normal, right? Some things do, some things don't. It doesn't mean you don't invest your heart and soul, but you have to recognize that it isn't always going to be triumphant, and that's okay. That once you get out of a painful situation, life goes on and things are fine. Once you've put yourself back together, picked up the pieces, everything's fine. So failures aren't fatal. What's fatal is not learning from failures.